What is estrogen? Anybody has an idea what estrogen is? What is really it is? So we'll get into that. If anybody wants to make a comment before I start, what is estrogen? So estrogen is what we call the primary female sex hormone. We have progesterone, and which we'll deal with that on another day. But today we are dealing with the primary female sex hormone, estrogen. Estrogen is one of the most important hormones in the female body, and it is often called the primary female sex hormone because of its central role in regulating reproductive functions in our bodies. Produced mainly by the ovaries, it is also influenced in a wide array of systems, including the skeletal, cardiovascular, or what we know as the heart, and the nervous system. While estrogen is found in both men and women, it plays a much larger role in women, especially during puberty, the menstrual cycle, pregnancy, and of course, menopause. There are three main types of estrogen, each with a specific role in our bodies as women. The estradiol, which is E2, this is the most common and active form of estrogen during a woman's most reproductive of most fertile years. It plays a role in the menstrual cycle and it maintains fertility. There's estrone, which is otherwise known as E1, which predominantly is produced after menopause. Estrone is a weaker form of estrogen, and it is mainly produced in fat tissues when the ovary production declines. And then we have the estriol tree. Estriol, which is otherwise known as E3. This is the least potent form of estrogen, primarily associated with pregnancy, as it helps support fetal development. What are the functions of estrogen? Estrogen doesn't just influence reproduction, it affects a far-reaching and touch nearly every system in our bodies as women. Okay, let's go through them. Regulation, production, and menstrual cycles. Estrogen controls the growth of the uterine lining, that's the lining, in the uterus, and prepares the body for pregnancy each month. Now, we know that when there is no pregnancy, that lining sheds, that we know it as basically as a period. When it comes every month, that bleeding. So that's one of the main roles it does. It maintains bone density. What it does, it prevents excessive breakdown, which is why osteoporosis becomes such a common concern after menopause. It supports cardiovascular health. Estrogen helps regulate cholesterol levels and supports healthy blood vessels, reducing the risk of heart disease. I've heard many women say, boy, I cannot wait to go through menopause. But there's a big but. With that transition, a lot of other problems arises because of the decrease in the main form of estrogen. Another thing it affects is what it does, estrogen does, it enhances skin elasticity. It contributes to collagen production, keeping the skin firm and hydrated. Hence the reason why when we are going through or we've gone through menopause, we start to see lines and wrinkles appearing. Another thing estrogen does, it boosts cognitive functions. Estrogen supports memory, it supports learning and overall brain health, and it reduces the risk of cognitive decline. Hence the reason why a lot of women postmenopausal, suffer from cognitive disorders, brain fog, some dementia, some Alzheimer's, and as the case may be. Hormonal changes leading to menopause. As women approach menopause, the production of estrogen by the ovaries begins to fluctuate and eventually declines. This transition often starts during the perimenopausal phase, and this can last several years, even before the onset of menopause. During this time, estriol, which is E2, drops significantly. The body relies more on the E1, which is the less effective form of estrogen. These changes causes disruptions in the systems of our bodies. Lack of estrogen supports leads to many of the symptoms and health risks associated with menopause, such as hot flashes, bone loss, and mood changes. So some of the effects we have during this time, we'll have a better understanding of why we go through what we go through. What are some of the effects of low estrogen in women? During perimenopause, which is the transitional phase before menopause, and menopause, the ovaries significantly reduce their production of estrogen. This decline disrupts the balance of hormones that have supported various systems throughout a woman's life. So perimenopause, estrogen levels fluctuate unpredictably, leading to irregular periods, the onset of symptoms like hot flashes, and mood swings. During the menopausal time, which is defined as 12 consecutive months without a menstrual period, estrogen levels drop to their lowest, bringing long-term health implications. These changes affect not only the reproductive systems, but also the bones, the heart, skin, and mental health. What are the impacts on bone health? One of the most significant effects of low estrogen on bone density are as follows. Estrogen helps regulate the process of bone remodeling, where old bones break down and are replaced by new ones. When estrogen levels drop, the rate of bone skeletal breakdown accelerates, outpacing bone formation. Hence the reason for such problems during that time. So the body just cannot keep up with the outpacing of the bones. So bone breakdown accelerates and it outpaces bone formation. Hence the reason why we start to get problems. So this increases the risk of osteoporosis, a condition where bones become weak, they become brittle, making fractures more likely, especially in the hips, the spine, and the wrists. Women can lose up to 20% of their bone density in the first 5 years after menopause. What are some impacts on heart health now? Estrogen plays a protective role in cardiovascular health by maintaining healthy blood vessel function, also by regulating cholesterol levels, by increasing which we call the good cholesterol, which is the HDL cholesterol, and reducing the bad one, which we know as the LDL cholesterol. Now, when estrogen levels drop, these protective effects diminish. leading to increased risk of heart disease and stroke in women. Heart disease now becomes the leading cause of death in post-menopausal women. And ladies, I hope you have what I should have said in the beginning. Take a pen and a piece of paper, a booklet, a book, a notebook, and take some notes here because we have some vital information here. The impacts of mood and mental health at this time. The drop in estrogen levels also affects the brain and the neurotransmitter systems that regulate mood and emotion. And this can lead to depression. Women are at an increased risk of experiencing depressive symptoms during perimenopause and menopause. Anxiety, hormonal shifts can heighten feelings of nervousness and worry. Cognitive issues, women may experience brain fog, difficulty concentrating, memory lapses, which can feel unsettling and disruptive. These mental health changes highlight the complex interaction between hormones and the brain. So basically, the decrease in these hormones disrupts and that relationship with the brain that they had that was so cohesive before, it has now become disrupted. What are the impacts on skin and hair? Estrogen is essential for maintaining healthy skin and hair. When estrogen levels decline, skin loses elasticity due to reduced collagen production. There's an increase in dryness and thinning, which can make the skin appear more aged. And this, I want to link this to women who go through menopause or postmenopausal and have to have pap smears done. It can be quite uncomfortable even if we use more gel and make them as comfortable as possible because of the thin, how in that mucus lining in there becomes thin, it makes pap smear become less comfortable than it used to be before. So you have to be, the provider, whether it's the nurse or the doctor, has to be extremely gentle because it can cause a lot of discomfort, sometimes bleeding, if that patient is uncomfortable with the process. What does it do to the hair? Hair may become thinner, drier, and more prone to breakage. Some women experience alopecia, hair loss, particularly at the crown of the head, right? Or at the scalp area. These physical changes, while not life-threatening, can affect a woman's self-esteem and her confidence. Symptoms of low estrogen. What are they? Low estrogen levels during perimenopause and menopause can cause a range of symptoms. These symptoms can be physical, emotional, and mental, impacting daily life and overall well-being. Let's explore the most common ones. Hot flashes and night sweats. Now we know those of us who are experiencing it and have been through it know about hot flashes. It is very, very common with a lot of women. I would say not everyone, because not every woman experiences the symptoms in the same intensity. Hot flashes are sudden feelings of intense heat, often accompanied by sweating, flushing of the skin, skin becoming pink reddish, usually in the upper body. Night sweats are hot flashes that occur during the night, often disrupting rest and sleep and leaving you feeling fatigued. These symptoms result from changes in the hypothalamus, which is the part of the brain that regulates body temperature due to low estrogen levels. So hence the reason why we get that feeling of hot, cold, the hypothalamus is also affected by the fluctuation of the estrogen levels. Vaginal dryness and discomfort. Estrogen helps maintain the lubrication and the elasticity of the vaginal tissues. So when estrogen levels drop, the vaginal tissues become thin and less elastic. Lubrication decreases, leading to dryness and discomfort, especially during intercourse, a condition known as dyspareunia. These changes can affect intimacy and the quality of life. Decreased libido. Estrogen also contributes to sexual desire and arousal. With reduced levels, many women experience a decline in libido, which is the sex drive. Vaginal dryness and discomfort may also contribute to a loss of interest in sexual activity. So we had dealt with a topic like this before in depth, and it's something that we could always go through again. The use of gel and other other um other things that you can use to help to maintain or to encourage the sex drive, right? To make it a easy, more sensual experience at that time. Weight gain around the abdomen. Lower estrogen levels can lead to changes in fat distribution around the body. Fat tends to accumulate more around the abdomen, creating what we call a menopausal belly or tummy. Now, slower metabolism is also a culprit, and also muscle loss during the time. This time also contributes to weight gain. What does it do to emotional and mental health at this time? Emotional and mental symptoms here. We have mood swings. Estrogen influences the production of serotonin and other mood regulating neurotransmitters. A decrease in estrogen can result in irritability, sudden emotional changes, and a higher risk of depression or anxiety. These shifts can feel unpredictable and emotionally draining. So ladies, you know that sudden bursts of emotion, you're being more emotional than you generally are. And all these, that problem there with, you're getting upset for minor things that you never even used to be a bother before, they become bothersome. That's because of the fluctuation, or in many cases, the extreme decrease in the estrogen levels. Difficulty concentrating, what we call brain fog. Many women report brain fog, which includes trouble focusing on tasks, forgetfulness, and memory lapses. Going into that room, going to do something, and then realize what I came here for. Difficulty processing information. Quickly, the brain becomes slower, taking more time to understand stuff. Now, this is linked to estrogen's role in supporting cognitive function and health. What about sleep disturbances? What does it do? Sleep problems are common during menopause and often caused by night sweats, disrupting a restful night's sleep. Increased anxiety or mood, making it even harder to fall asleep. Changes in sleep patterns as a result of hormonal shifts. So you see, ladies, we have a lot to deal with when it comes to sleep. Hence the reason why you go to work feeling so moody, because, a lack of sleep contributes, and all these problems you're having during the night contributes to that mood swing and all of the other anxiety and moodiness and grumpiness. Poor sleep can worsen other symptoms like fatigue, mood swings, and cognitive difficulties. What organs are affected by low estrogen levels? Estrogen plays a critical role in multiple organ systems, supporting their structure and function. When estrogen levels decline during perimenopause and menopause, it impacts the reproductive system, bones, brain, cardiovascular system, and even the skin and hair. Let's explore how these systems are affected. Reproductive system, the ovaries. As menopause approaches, the ovaries produce less estrogen, leading to irregular menstrual cycles and eventually their complete cessation. They completely stop working. The uterus. The uterine lining, remember I spoke about having to do a pap smear at this stage. Let's see what happens here. The uterine lining thins, leading to lighter periods during perimenopause and a higher risk of conditions like atrophy and prolapse which is uterine prolapse. It could be quite uncomfortable and embarrassing to go through. So many times it can be picked up. Even my patient during that time may not tell the provider, which is myself or other health providers, doing a pap smear. But when you go to do the pap smear, you see the prolapse in there happening there, right there, and then we get the help that the patient needs. So it can be it can be quite embarrassing, but you can get help for it, right? So it is something because all those muscles they're becoming lax and things like that. So another thing that can happen as well, the low estrogen levels cause vaginal tissues to become thinner, less elastic, and drier. This can result in vaginal dryness and discomfort, increased risk of infections like bacterial vaginosis and urinary tract infections, painful intercourse, which is dyspareuria, which can impact intimacy and relationship. So we can see how the partner can get very, very frustrated at this time, especially if they don't know what you are going through, and if you're not, you yourself need not be understanding the changes taking place. What happens with the bones? Estrogen is essential for maintaining bone strength by regulating bone remodeling, the process by which old bones is replaced by new bones. When estrogen levels drop, bone breakdown accelerates, while new bone formation slows down. So this leads to decreased bone mineral density, which they call BMD for short, and a higher risk of osteoporosis. Women are particularly vulnerable to get fractures, as we know, ladies. We've had probably aunts, grandmothers, other relatives, senior relatives who've had spine, hips, and wrists fractures during this time after menopause. What happens to the brain? Estrogen supports brain health by regulating neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, which influence mood and cognition. Low estrogen contributes to depression, anxiety, and mood swings. Hence the moodiness and all the anxiety that comes along with that. Memory and cognition. Many women experience what we call brain fog, which is characterized by forgetfulness, difficulty concentrating, and slower processing of information. Estrogen may also play a role in protecting against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, which are more common in women during the postmenopausal period. Heart and blood vessels. What happens here? Estrogen helps maintain cardiovascular health by promoting healthy blood vessel function, regulating cholesterol levels, which is increasing HDL or the good cholesterol, and reducing the LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. That is during the normal reproductive years. After menopause, here's what's happening. There is an increase in cholesterol levels, which contributes to the buildup of plaque in the arteries. This raises a risk of arteriosclerosis, heart attacks, and stroke. Women's cardiovascular risk equals or surpasses men after menopause. What happens to the skin and hair? Skin. Estrogen stimulates collagen production and helps maintain skin elasticity. Postmenopausal, the skin becomes thinner, it becomes drier and more prone to wrinkles. Hence why some women like to use silk on their beds as their bed sheets because it causes less wrinkles than the cotton or the other material. So these are one of the problems we have, or the challenges, I would say, because of the lack of collagen. Wound healing may also slow down due to reduced estrogen levels as well. What happens to the hair? Estrogen promotes hair growth and scalp health. Low levels can lead to hair thinning or hair loss, particularly at the crown and front of the scalp. Hair may become drier and more brittle. What can we do, ladies? There is hope. What can we do here? 10 ways to naturally increase estrogen levels during menopause. We cannot underestimate the importance of dietary changes. Your diet plays a role in managing hormonal levels. We need to focus on foods that support estrogen production and overall health, which includes phytoestrogens, which we know that are chemicals that mimic estrogen, and their roles. Eating these foods can increase the amount of these estrogens, phytoestrogens in your blood. We can get these from natural sources, like these are plant compounds that mimic estrogen, as I said, in the body. Foods rich in these include soy products like tofu, edamame, soy milk, that's soy products. We have flaxseed, which is high in lignans, a type of phytoestrogen. We have chickpeas, which we in the Caribbean know as chana, a versatile legume, which is also high in phytoestrogens and nutrients. Focusing on fats now. We're focusing on fat, but we're focusing on healthy fats. Healthy fats support hormone production. So we need to incorporate more avocados. You know, it's a seasonal product, it's a seasonal fruit. And avocados, nuts like almonds and walnuts, and seeds like chia and sunflower can help at this time. Limit processed foods and sugar. These can disrupt hormonal balance and contribute to inflammation and exacerbating, which means making the menopausal symptoms worse. Exercise regularly. Physical activity is crucial for both hormone regulation and symptom management. Weight-bearing exercises. Activities like walking, jogging, and resistance training help maintain bone density and reduce the risk of osteoporosis. And I've found myself reading up on the importance of squatting, ladies, because your leg, since it's the biggest muscle that we have on that that part of our body, that the legs are very important in terms of your general health, and squatting helps to maintain that balance and it helps strengthen the spinal area. So I have been doing a lot more squatting. It can be challenging, but it could be very, very productive to us women at this stage. What about yoga and reducing activities? Gentle exercises like yoga and Pilates promote flexibility and relieve stress, which can improve the overall hormonal balance. Managing stress. Now, all this advice is good, which I advocate. You know, exercise, eating a healthy diet. But if we do not manage our stress levels, it wouldn't be any use to us. So stress management, I would say, takes a high role, a high place in managing these symptoms. Stress increases cortisol, we know, is the stress hormone, which can suppress estrogen production and worsen menopausal material. What can we do here? We can practice mindfulness or meditation. Daily mindfulness practices can help regulate cortisol levels. Incorporate stress-reducing habits like deep breathing exercises, journaling, writing out a lot of our feeling or what is bothering us, sometimes who may be bothering us, you know, things that are stressing us at work. You know, you're right, just write, and that helps in the reduction of stress management, because what it does, it even if you feel like you do not have anyone to talk to, it would allow you to relieve some of the stress that you have pent up. A lot of us as women don't like to how to put it. We don't At this time, we really don't trust much people with our personal what we go through, and because it could be from years of being disappointed by people. So journaling can help a lot at this time. So spending time in nature like I do when I go hiking can alleviate a lot of that stress. What about sleep hygiene? Sleep quality is essential for hormone regulation. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Establish a consistent bedtime routine and avoid screen time before bed. Address sleep disturbances. Keep your bedroom cool to manage night sweats and use relaxing techniques to ease anxiety before sleep. One of the things I've recently incorporated is a foot massager, and it is very, very comfortable, right? So I've been using that. I use teas at the nighttime, not a big amount of fluid, but just a small cup, a hour to before bedtime to get me in the mood to sleep, in the mindset. Also, hydration. Staying hydrated helps to counteract some of the dryness associated with low estrogen levels. We cannot underscore how important it is to drink a lot of water. Aim for at least 8 glasses a day to stay hydrated. Remember, we are made up of about 70% of water, which can improve skin elasticity and support overall well-being. What about herbal remedies? Certain herbs may support hormonal balance during menopause, like traditionally used maca root, which balance hormone and boost energy, red clover, which contains phytoestrogens that may alleviate symptoms like hot flashes, and the black cohosh, a popular herb for managing hot flashes and night sweats. I want you to note, always consult a healthcare provider before starting herbal supplements, because there may be interactions between the herb and if you are on a certain medication regime. So always let them know what your healthcare provider, what you are using. Limit alcohol and caffeine. Caffeine in particular, excessive alcohol and caffeine intake can worsen menopausal symptoms. What does alcohol do? Alcohol can increase hot flashes and disrupt sleep. Limit consumption to 1 to 2 glasses per week. What about caffeine? Caffeine is a trigger. Caffeine may trigger hot flashes and worsen anxiety. Opt for herbal teas or the caffeinated options instead. Maintain a healthy weight. Body fat produces small amounts of estrogen, but excess weight. Body fat produces small amounts of estrogen, but excess weight can increase health risks. What health risks? Aim for a balanced diet as well. So it can increase health risk. For example, there's an increase in certain types of cancers when we are overweight. So, and other medical issues. Aim for a healthy weight. A healthy weight can help reduce symptoms and lower the risk of conditions like heart disease and diabetes. Vitamin D and calcium. What can they do at this time? Support bone health, especially as estrogen declines. Vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption and bone health. Get it through sunlight exposure, a good early morning sun walk, not in the hot midday sun, fortified foods and supplements as well. Calcium. Calcium found in dairy products, leafy greens, and fortified plant-based milks, like I've had flax milk, I've had cashew milk, almond milk, soy milk, right? So all of these are helpful at this time to aim for at least 1,200 milligrams per day. Acupuncture, an ancient practice, acupuncture may help alleviate menopausal symptoms. Hormone balance. The acupuncture may promote the release of endorphins, which help regulate hormonal fluctuations. symptom relief. Studies suggest it can reduce hot flashes and improve mood, also enhance sleep quality. So ladies, the importance of understanding estrogen here is important to know why we are going through what we are going through. So we've explored how estrogen is critical. It's a critical hormone for women's health, and it impacts everything from reproductive function to bone density, heart health, mood, and even skin and hair. Understanding its role helps us recognize the significance of the changes that occur during menopause. Recognizing the symptoms and their impact on health. Symptoms like hot flashes, mood swings, brain fog, sleep disturbances, as well as long-term risks like osteoporosis and cardiovascular disease all stem from declining estrogen levels. Now, by understanding this or recognizing these early signs, women can take a proactive step to protect their health and their well-being, and to be more informed and to inform their family members and other women who may be going through the same experience. We've covered 10 natural ways to manage low estrogen levels, including making dietary changes, such as including phytoestrogens and healthy fats, exercising regularly to maintain bone density and relieve stress, managing stress, prioritizing sleep, and staying hydrated, exploring herbal remedies, and maintaining a healthy weight, also using complementary practices like acupuncture. These strategies empower women to support their own health naturally and holistically. I would love to hear from you at this time and to know if this was very, very, very vital to helping you deal with a lot of the problems, or I'm going to say the issues or challenges that we face as we try to go through this transition.
Okay, good night, everyone. I just want to wish everyone all the best for 2025 and probably beyond. I have a concern. Is it that we talk about the E1? Is it the E1 and estrogen? Is it the same thing? Same hormone?
Estriol, we have the E1, the E2, and the estrogen, right? Now they are all hormones, right? Right? But the three are very different, right? They have different uses at different times in our life.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, thank you. The estrogen, I have one question with that. The estrogen is produced in fatty tissues. Am I saying the correct thing?
Yes, that's far as I'm.
So is there a time where one can ask if they would not be able to produce it?
Explain.
Meaning, okay, this may sound funny, but fatty tissues. My question is it that when we reach this age, we will have enough fatty tissues, all of us? Are we going to have enough fatty tissues to produce estrogen? Or is it that you're supposed to have a certain weight to produce estrogen? Will it be effective on anyone positively, or do you have to have a certain type of health to produce estrogen? Don't know if I make myself clear.
Oh yes, I'll answer it from best of my ability here. Remember, during decreased estrogen levels, we have fat now, but it is redistributed to how it used to be, right? So we know that flat belly has now become the vesicle for the cortisol, right? So hence the reason why our tummies are fat, or we have bigger tummies at this time. We do, not as shapely and flat bellied as I could. Let me just put it in a nice way, as we used to be, right? But yes, we have the fat, but it, because of the decreased estrogen levels, which is we have another type of estrogen that kicks in that is not as effective and as in our reproductive years. Basically, that's what it's saying, right? So we know that during our reproductive years, uh, we 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 were reproducing, our boobs were up, skin looking bright and nice, and we had the estrone, and it was there, and it was very useful to helping us staying young and had those wrinkles and all of that. But as we get older, because that is a decrease, and the the other one that we get during menopause is there, we do not have that 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 youthful look, as I may say, the best way to put it. And the amount of other issues that goes along with it, it is not as powerful as the one that supported us during our reproductive years. So hence the reason why we
Great.
incorporate, yeah. Hence the reason why we incorporate healthy fats. Now, nothing could ever replace that natural hormone, estrogen active one that we had during the reproductive years. But by keeping our weight, keeping down our weight, keeping us exercising, keeping active, and all these things, it can help to boost,
Okay.
along with the foods that we eat, a healthier you at this time. It is not the end of everything, as I it's just another transition. It's just we are adopting lifestyle techniques that can help us to be healthy during this time, this transition.
Okay. And that is well explained. Thanks, listeners. I want to find out something too. Is it that your body have the natural mechanism to, for example, hair loss, night sweat, all these disturbances that you would have and difficulties that you will have, during this time? Is it that because you are going through that, your brain now will become, I don't want to say dismembered, but your brain would not be able to function as it's supposed to be again? Now, I could sound a little mixed up here, right? Because what I'm trying to get at is that, okay, if you had good memory, and let's say nervous system was going good, your skin was looking nice and
Mm.
flawless, these things. And then when you look at yourself, let's say in the mid 50s, early 60s, you realize this is not me, this is not, could that bring on a natural, um, let's say, could it interfere with the nerves, or the could it interfere with all the brain, and that will put you into
Self-esteem,
a further
yes,
into into a further negative feeling? Or is it that it
yes,
will just come
yes.
on just like that?
It could be both ways. Um, for some women, they say all of a sudden they start to feel all these symptoms, right? And then other women, they say bit by bit they started to feel strange when they reach a certain age. So it varies from one woman to the next. Some women would get these symptoms coming down and them like, oh boy, how I look, why am I feeling like this? I mean, I'm feeling so moody and I'm getting angry for nothing. And other women, bit by bit, they would see changes taking place. At least in my case, everything didn't come one time. Bit by bit, I realized that, what is this funny, unusual feeling? I'm in the healthcare field, and I was next. It just, the way it came on bit by bit, what's this? Cold and hot. You know, sometimes I would be outside in the cool weather and I just feel cold and hot. It just came like quickly within a few seconds and it then left. And then it started to come a little more often. And, you know, then I realized that, you know, my cycle's not coming as the way it used to. Now, mind you, I'm on my period, but all of this was this was all during perimenopause. And I didn't want to think that it was starting already, but it was because it was giving me signs that, hey, I'm here. And these are the things that I started to go through. I became, and one of the things that I want to look into is disruptions and things of noise. I became less tolerable. This is one of the things that happened to me as well, to loud noise. Loud noise just sets me off, especially when I'm in a very relaxing mood and I'm this loud noise. Loud noises does that to me. So everybody is not the same, and it doesn't come the same way with everyone, but eventually when it is that those estrogen level decreases, you will get some of the symptoms, some more intense. Other women have them more intense, like how I had them, and other women, and some of us here, and some women less intense. So it varies, but it eventually you will feel it.
So nurse, and probably, I don't know, Dr. Khan probably will want to. Um, okay, we as women, we will be going through, we will see certain signs and we will have certain, mental disturbances. I use it as that because when you see certain things, it interferes with how you used to think before. So is it that, and I remember at some point in time we had a guest speaker last year. I can't remember the person's name, but that is not important right now. And the
Okay.
person was saying to make sure and take care of yourself. Because why I ask all these questions is that when you have disturbances in the mind, let's say for instance, your hair loss, and you go to bed, sometimes you wake up to use the washroom and your mirror might be somewhere there. Look at yourself, look at my head, and just by that little thing alone, you just can't go back to sleep. But
Yeah.
if you, and it will bring on a sleep disturbance. But what I'm saying is that what I think would help, and I want to leave room for somebody else's question because I already spent too much time. So what I'm saying would help, what's supposed to help us women, is that we always think positive. You
I
wake up
agree.
and you know this is going, don't try to preempt it, but it is going to, at some point in time, we will age in different times, we will look different in different times. So that
Yes.
is expected, that is understood. So my advice to the women who are going through this, try to keep yourself as nice as you can. Try. Okay? That is just my contribution tonight. Because it's
Thank you.
something that we cannot avoid. Even the hot flashes, oh my God, look at how I'm getting again. I will put myself together, but I'm feeling and I'm sitting down with the chairman here in a meeting and I just can't contain myself because I sure I'm wet and I'm sweaty and whatever. Always have that positive mindset, right? I am sweaty, but when I left home clean and I look very refined. So probably it's just a little thing that my body is going through, which I already know about, and it will pass. It will soon pass. So we have to have we have to generate that kind of mentalness to keep us going. Okay, thank you for your time. Other people, you can go ahead and ask your questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Anybody else has anything to contribute? Anything to ask?
Well, we were so intrigued in all the questions that our dear uh, panelists just asked there. And
Miss Atwell.
Maria, yes, so we really have nothing. We were informed.
Okay.
And so she asked the right questions. So I don't know. For me, I'm satisfied with knowing exactly what is the changes in our bodies. And you did a fantastic good job today, Maria. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much.
much.
I'm glad to have the information to present to us, and so that we ourselves too could share it, because many of us women are going through this in silence. We are suffering, literally suffering in
Yeah, yeah,
silence.
yeah.
And
We're
we feel like we
embarrassed.
have, yeah, and we feel like we have
We are
no
so
one,
embarrassed.
no one to talk
Yeah,
to, nobody to help
yeah.
us. So share the information. That's what we're here for. Share it, let other women know we have this channel and we are here to help. We are here to inform, and so that you would know that you're not going through this transition alone. You know, many times, as I said in one of our earlier one of our earlier programs, my mother went through this and I didn't even have an idea. I didn't even know what it was when she was going through it. I don't know if she herself was having all those symptoms and didn't say anything,
Mm-mm.
or if her
Hmm.
symptoms were so minimal that it really didn't make much of an impact on her life. So I really didn't have anything, or anyone, even any of my aunts who were going through it, nobody really said anything. It's like, thinking about it now, everybody kept it like it was a secret.
Yeah, yeah. Embarrassed.
No, if you
Embarrassed.
think back at relatives, think about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Elder female
yeah.
relatives, you know anybody who could say to you previously in your younger days,
No, no,
hey, I
no.
going through
Mm-mm.
menopause,
No, 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 no.
and
Mm-mm.
this is what happened.
Mm-mm.
I wasn't prepared, actually, to be honest with you.
I
I
don't think
wasn't
none of us.
I wasn't prepared.
None of
So
us. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
when you're prepared and be able to face this with more
Yeah.
knowledge, and you'll be able to protect yourself. So when you put things in place, you would be able to protect yourself later on in life.
You feel better now. Yes.
You would.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Hello, good
So,
night.
good night, my dear.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Same
Good
to you.
program. I came
Hello.
on late. I came on late, so I've missed a lot.
Hi,
And I'm wondering,
Sister Graceland. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, I'm blessed. I'm wondering if it will have a recording or something that
Yes,
whatever you miss.
yes. Immediately after
Mhm.
we close off on YouTube, the recording will be there. So you could be able to access it afterwards.
But I have one question though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at what age will these symptoms go away?
Oh boy.
Because
Mm.
at my age, because I'm looking at high up 60s, you know what I mean? And I'm still experiencing some, not all,
Mm-hmm.
So I tell myself, look, I'm out of this kind of thing. But then sometimes suddenly just,
It comes on
experience some sweating or, that kind of thing. So I was wondering if, will this be until, wow, you
until
know.
it could be it, because I mean, to be honest with you, I've had a patient in her early 80s. I'm not meaning to discourage anyone. And
Hmm.
she had still hormonal issues. At that age, she didn't have cancer or anything like that. It's just her hormones were in such a disruptive way that she was bleeding still. And we had to put things in place to help her with the bleeding. So um, we used a IUCD to insert it to help at that point in time, because she didn't have any cancer or anything else. It was just that she was still bleeding, no reason on the books. But as she went through menopause and postmenopausal, it started, so we were looking for cancer. No cancer, nothing. Number of tests, nothing. Just her hormones were just very disruptive still, very naughty. So you could put a time and say, well, it's between the age of your early 40s, your mid 50s, things supposed to ease up after sometimes it doesn't. Hence the reason why you have to try to really and truly at this time, I think one of the best things we can do besides having a healthy diet, rest, and all these things, manage stress. Stress, to me, is one of the main disruptors of our hormones. Manage that stress. Don't let stress take over to the point that it causes your whole system to be disrupted. You're eating well, you're drinking well, you're sleeping well, you're exercising, doing all that you need, mindfulness, and still, Mr. Stress could cause your cortisol levels to be out of sync and cause other issues to arise. So,
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, if we don't have any more questions, I would like to tell everyone, thank you very much for coming. We want to continue with progesterone and what it does to us as we go through menopause, perimenopause, and it decreases, and how it affects us too. So we want to touch on that one as well. So we would have have some questions waiting on terms of progesterone, what it will have a question and answer section as well, and how we can deal with those issues when they come, or and to manage, and how we can teach other at least younger women, how to prepare themselves as well for this time of their lives. So thanks again, ladies.